Right now, one of the most famous companies on Earth is on track to lose about $14 billion this year. Not make. Lose, and investors are fighting each other to buy in at a valuation north of $1 trillion. That company is OpenAI. And everyone, the news, the analysts, your group chat, is staring straight at it, arguing about one question: is AI a bubble, or is it the future? That's the wrong question, or at least it's the wrong place to look. Because whether or not AI ends up changing the world, somebody is already getting paid, quietly, in cash, today. And it is mostly not the names on the magazine covers. So forget is it a bubble for a minute. Follow the money instead. Who actually gets rich from the AI race? By the end of this you'll know exactly who's pocketing the profit, and why the same dollar might be getting counted 3 separate times before anyone's even sure it's real. Start with the size of it, because the size is the whole story. In 2026 alone, the biggest technology companies on the planet plan to spend more than $700 billion building out AI, chips, data centers, power, cooling. That is not money they've earned from AI. That's money they are spending, betting it pays off later. 700 billion in a single year, more than most countries produce. When that much cash moves in one direction, the smart question isn't will the bet work, it's simpler than that. Where does all that money actually land? There's an old story from the California gold rush. Most of the people who grabbed a pan and went looking for gold went home broke. The ones who got rich sold them. Shovels, they didn't gamble on striking anything. They sold a tool every single prospector had to buy. Winner, loser, didn't matter. That is exactly what's happening now. The AI companies are the prospectors. A few will strike gold, most won't, but every one of them, without exception, has to buy the same shovels. And the people selling the shovels get paid either way. You already know the most famous shovel seller, Nvidia. Here's the part that doesn't really sink in until you see the numbers. Last full year, Nvidia brought in around $216 billion. Nearly $200 billion of that came from one thing: the data center chips that train AI. Profit, roughly $73 billion. Clean. Sit with that for a second. The most hyped AI company in the world is set to lose $14 billion this year. The company that sells it the chips made over $70 billion in profit in 12 months. And the margins are the real tell. For every dollar of those chips Nvidia sells, around 70 cents is profit before the rest of the business even gets going. That is not a tech company's margin. That's a toll booth's margin. Nvidia isn't betting on which AI wins. It's charging admission to the whole race. But here's what the headlines skip right past. Nvidia doesn't actually make its chips. It designs them. The physical chips, the most advanced objects human beings have ever mass-produced, are built by one company, in Taiwan, TSMC. Nvidia's best chips run on TSMC's most advanced process. So do its competitors. Earlier this year, TSMC did around $36 billion in revenue in a single quarter, and the high-performance work that powers AI is now the bulk of its business. Think about what that actually means. If Nvidia sells the shovels, TSMC owns the only forge on Earth that can make the shovel heads. There is no AI race without this one company in Taiwan. That's not a big market share. That's a choke point, and choke points print money. Now go one layer further down, to the winners nobody puts on a thumbnail. Every AI chip needs memory, which is why a once boring up and down company like Micron suddenly matters again. Every data center needs power, and cooling, and miles of cable. The companies making that unglamorous plumbing are booking record orders right now. There's a reason people have started measuring AI in electricity and water, instead of lines of code. The gold rush story holds all the way down. The picks, the shovels, the rails, the water for the camp. Somebody sells each one, and they all get paid long before a single AI product turns a profit. Okay, here's where it gets strange. And this is the part you actually need to understand. A lot of the money flying around AI isn't moving in a straight line. It's moving in a circle. Watch how it works. Nvidia announces a $100 billion investment into OpenAI. OpenAI then commits hundreds of billions to cloud companies. Oracle alone signed a deal reported at around $300 billion, and those cloud companies turn around and spend that money on Nvidia chips. So Nvidia funds the customer, who funds the cloud, who buys back from Nvidia. The same dollar can show up as revenue, or as backlog, at 3 different companies on the same lap. Add it all up, and there's reportedly over $800 billion of these circular deals stacked through the industry. Everybody gets to report a bigger number. Investors see growth everywhere they look. But strip the loop out, and you have to ask the uncomfortable question. How much of this is genuinely new money, and how much is the same money jogging in a circle, wearing a different jersey each time around? If that sounds familiar, it should. It is almost exactly what happened in the dot-com crash. When telecom giants lent their own customers the cash to buy their own equipment, revenue looked incredible. Right up until the customers ran out of money, the orders evaporated, and the whole thing folded in on itself. And the stakes today are bigger. At the start of 2026, just 5 companies made up around 30% of the entire S&P 500, the most top-heavy the American market has been in half a century. Some estimates say, a crash on the scale of the year 2000 could wipe out something like $30 trillion. That's not a Silicon Valley problem anymore. If you own an index fund, a pension, a retirement account, you are holding this bet, you just never got asked. So, who actually gets rich from the AI race? Not in the end the company everyone's watching. The biggest and safest winners are the ones selling the shovels. The chip designer charging a toll on the entire industry. The one factory in Taiwan nobody can go around. The quiet makers of memory and power and cooling. They get paid in cash. Now, no matter which AI model comes out on top, the AI companies themselves are mostly getting paid in promises, valuations, projections, backlogs. Money that only turns real if the future shows up exactly on schedule. And the circular deals make it almost impossible, from the outside, to tell who is genuinely winning from who is just passing the same dollar around the table with a straight face. The lesson here is older than the technology. In every gold rush, the people who sleep fine at night aren't the ones out digging. They're the ones who sold the shovel, banked the cash, and don't much care whether you ever hit gold. When the AI story finally runs into the math, and it always runs into the math, the question won't be who believed the hardest. It'll be who was still holding cash when the music stopped.